Right, so let's start the lecture for today. So I'm going to cover two topics for today's class, and it will be actually continuation from the last lecture. So last lecture we have covered the elements of research design, right? If you can remember. So we have gone through elements of research design, means particularly which section we need to consider to discuss in our chapter 3 for our research proposal or for our research project, right? So I think what I can remember, I have completed up to data collection from interview method, right? So how to collect the data through interview, that one I have covered, and I mentioned that two more method for data collection I'm going to cover next class. So for today's class, I'm going to cover those two. So the first one will be how to collect the data through observation method. And the second one will be how to collect data through questionnaire, right? So questionnaire survey, how to conduct it. So most of you, you are going to collect the data through questionnaire survey. So that one is more important, but you also need to know how we can collect the data through observation method. So that one may be not applicable for your research, but you need to have the concept. Okay, let me share my screen with you first. Okay, the first one, right? Okay, I hope I can go like this way with full screen. Okay, so I think when we have gone through the research strategies, right? One of the strategies we have gone through is observation, right? So observation can be one of the strategy to collect the data and to complete the research, right? So observation is what? I mentioned previously that you need to go to the field, right, for data collection. The field could be any, like it can be any shopping mall, it can be any factory setting, it can be any office, it can be any trading room, it can be any like physical market or flea market, whatever is like is the context. So you need to just go to that field physically and you need to collect the data. Collect the data on what? On those people that you are going to observe, those people who were involved in that particular situation, right? So you need to observe those people, what they do, how they do, the way they are doing. So all these things you are going to watch, right? So you are going to watch, as well as you need to record what you have seen there. So after collecting the data and recording what you have seen there, then later on you need to analyze those data, as well as you need to come up with the result and you need to interpret those what you have seen there. So this is called observation method. So you can just see that observation, you need to go to the field physically, that's what I mentioned. So it can be any context, I already mentioned. And also you need to see those people who are involved there. So it can be like any workers from the supermarket, then it can be from the factory, then consumers from the shopping mall, from the grocery shop, and then from the trading room, how the traders are doing their activities, their job. And after looking into all those activities, then you are going to describe, analyze, and interpreting what you have seen there, right? So this is called observation method. Okay, then for some example, like sometimes we can just go for like to a particular study setting. Suppose by using the shadow wall we can observe people. Shadow wall means you just need to put what is that one, the glass in such a manner, so from your side you will be able to see the people, but the other side people will not be able to see you, right? Like this one, like Fisher Price, right, one of the company who are manufacturing or producing the toys as well as the baby gear, right? So suppose they will be like launching a new product, they came up with a new product and they would like to see how the reaction of the kids, right? Those kids who are going to the daycare center or the creche. So then you can just put a wall in between the two rooms, from where in one room you will be there, and you will be by using the shadow wall, you will be able to see those kids, but the kids will not be able to see you, right? So this way you can just go for observing their attitude and behavior and their reaction towards the new product, right? So this is one of the example. And then you can also use the camera to observe the shopping behavior of the people. Then just sitting at the corner of a particular office, you just sit there and see those people who are involved in that particular situation and the way they behave and they do their work. You just go for observing them. So it can be another way of observing people and collect the data. As well as you just go to the factory of any company, then in manufacturing plant, you go there and see those people who are involved in factory life. So how they do their work, how the factory activities are going on, you just go there and watch them and record the activities, right? As well as there is another strategy or approach you can use. That one is mystery shopper. Mystery shoppers are those people who will be acting or pretending like a normal people, right? General people, and or they will be behaving like that, means pretending like they are customer, right? And they will be just going to that particular situation and observe people, but they are not the part of that particular study setting or the situation, but they will be pretending that yes, maybe they are the customer, and they will be observing those people. Like, I don't know, those students who are actually working in a bank. So it's very common in the bank to use these mystery shoppers to observe those bank staffs or the employees behavior and as well as their activities, and to evaluate their performance. So some banks, what they do, they just go for giving the task to a particular research firm, and those research firm, they will be sending their staff to like just pretending like a normal customer, and they will be going to that particular bank employees, and they will be asking them some questions like a customer, to see that whether they have enough knowledge of the bank's products or not, whether they have enough knowledge of their competitors product or not, whether they have actually greeted them properly or not, whether they have actually completed their what is that one, the services properly or not. So means whether you have dressed up properly or not. I don't know whether you have experienced this one or not, because when I used to work in a bank, I actually have means like faced or experienced this, means all, and always we used to like be like very conscious or cautious, like whether the customer is actually the mystery shopper or not. So like this way you can also go for observing the people. So this is called actually what is that one, mystery shopper activities. Okay, so this way you can also collect the data I mentioned already. Okay, so when we will be observing any particular situation, we can characterize the observation based on this particular dimension or the domain. That one is like characterizing the types of observation can be controlled versus uncontrolled, participant versus non-participant, structured versus non-structured, or unstructured, concealed versus unconcealed. Okay, control versus uncontrolled observation. So here control means you are going to um, collect the data by manipulating some of the factor or situation of that particular situation. So that one will be control, means this will be with artificial setting. I think previously we have gone through artificial setting and natural setting, right? So contrived versus non-contrived. So this controlled observational study will be bit like contrived study setting. So this will be like we are going to control some factor, we are going to just change some situation of that particular study setting, and then we are going to observe people's behavior and the normal behavior, whether it's getting changed or not, if we go for controlling that situation. So that way, if we go for observing it, it will be called as control. I'm going to give you an example. Then uncontrolled observational method means here in natural study, means in natural setting, you are just going to collect the data and no manipulation will be there, right? So that is uncontrolled observation method. And control, suppose you are going to observe the factory life of people, right? and there will be like light setting in that particular factory or the manufacturing plant, right? But what you can do, you just go for changing their light setting. Means maybe you can just go for reducing the light of that particular factory, and can see if you just go for reducing the light or the power of the light, then whether it will be having any impact on their performances or not, right? So this way what you are doing, you are controlling the situation a bit and going to see whether there are any changes or not. So this is control study setting. Okay, or then just go for participant versus non-participant observation. Participant means here, when you will be going for data collection, you need to like participate in all the activities that is going on in that particular situation, right? So you are going to participate in each and every activities of that particular environment or the situation, and you are going to observe people's activities. So this is participative observation. Then non-participative observation, you will be just like going for watching them, not interacting with any of the people involved in that situation, and you are just going for collecting the data. So this is non-participative observation. Like I mentioned, right, one of the example, just sitting at the corner of the office and just observe what are those people doing over there. So it will be non-participative, so no participation from your end. And structured versus unstructured observational. Structured means you are going to is listing down what particular activities you are going to observe in that situation, right? So that one will be structured. So rather than those, you are not going to observe other activities. So you already have the list, what to watch, what to observe. So that is structured. What is unstructured means you are going to watch or record each and every activities in that particular situation. This is unstructured one. Then concealed versus unconcealed observation. Concealed means that the participants involved in that particular situation, they will be not knowing that they are being observed. Okay, and someone is observing them, right? So this is concealed. And unconcealed, that people will be knowing in that particular situation that they are being observed. So this is unconcealed observation method. So these are the different dimensions or domain we can use to characterize the observation. Any questions so far?
Prof,
Yes.
this characterized type of observation we are going to use in our paper writing, or
That's what I mentioned. This is actually, if you go for collecting the data through observation method for your research, then you need to characterize it, right? Otherwise, most of you are not actually collecting data through observation. But I'm giving you the concept that data can be collected how. You can use interview method for data collection. You can use observation method to collect the data. You can also use the questionnaire survey, right? You can do the survey to collect the data. Most of your case, you are going to actually use the questionnaire survey, right? You are going to use. So this one, most of your cases, most of our students cases, observation, through observation, you are not collecting the data, but for your study purpose, to understand the knowledge of this observation, I'm just covering this.
should we
Once, yeah.
should we mention this characterized types of observation in our paper, or
No
not?
need. If you are not using the observation, then no need. Are you
I
going to
see.
use observation, Saiful?
Not sure.
Not
Sure.
sure. So
Not sure.
when you will be like, if you collect the data through observation, then you need to, of course, give the details. So when you have collected data, it was participative. You were just looking at, means like you were just observing them without like interacting with them, or you interacted them and collected the data like this way. So
I
you
see.
need to explain these things. Suppose, for example, I think last class I mentioned, like that recently I'm actually collecting the data through observation for one of my research. And I have collected the data from the Masjid Jamek, you know, right, in Kuala Lumpur. There is a Sunday market and Saturday market, that is weekend market is there, right? So actually I was observing those hawkers, right? Street hawkers, or the street hawkers, right? Yes, street hawkers who are actually selling the product from that particular location. And I have collected the data, like if I say like non-participative, the first day when I went there to observe those hawkers, right, the street vendors, then I was just looking at them, means like they have like located their stalls, how, from which road to which road, from which entrance to which entrance. So I was just like passing by, and I was just watching is what type of stalls are there, what type of products they are selling, from which side, in which side most of the customers are coming, and at what time most of the customers are coming to that place. So without interrupting people, I just observe, right? So this is non-participative. And participative means like second day, third day, fourth day, when I went there, then I started like talking with the seller, right? The vendors, the hawkers. Then I started like how? Then it was very tough, right? Oh, so many people are there. Then how I can talk to them, right? So what I did, I just bought the stuff from them, and then I started talking with them. So you know, right? So as this is participative one, so I got involved in that selling and purchasing, and then I started talking with them. So actually for how long they are selling the product from this market, and then how they managed to get the license, and most of the time is particularly at what time most of the customers are coming, so what time they don't have much customers, this way whether they are okay to sell the product from that particular point or not. So this is participative, right? So when I'm collecting the data and I will be writing it down, so I need to explain it. Once I
Yes.
full, is it
Yeah.
making sense?
Yeah. Does every journal have this types of observation, or they just they did mention about the observation? We have to identify whether they observe their what sample or not.
Yes, so whether they are being observed or not, right? So they have they had no clue when I started collecting the data right this way or observing them, right? But yes, but some of the cases I had to reveal my what is that one, identity, right? So I had to tell them. Means some people were like bit suspicious, right? So why I'm asking so many questions? Then I had to reveal my identity, that actually I'm doing a research, and that's why I'm just asking them question to get some information, so which will help me to what do my research. So like this way. So however you are going to miss whatever method you are going to use, so in your research methodology section you need to write it exactly how you have done your data collection process, and everything you need to write a storytelling.
I see. I see. So
Okay.
on the paper critic also we can use this, right? To observe I
No,
mean to.
look, paper critic, I don't know, people are getting like confused how to do the paper critic. Paper critic, you are selecting one of the journal article, right, related to your topic. In that
Yep.
particular article, the research methodology, if they are like saying that they have done the data collection through observation method, then you need to talk about or do the criticism on this method. Once I full, make sense
Oh,
or not?
okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
True.
that particular paper has not collected the data through observation, then why you need to talk about the observation in that paper? But you can just do your point of view that yes, the author has collected the data through interview or through what is that one, through questionnaire survey, but they could use the observation method. So that will be your point of view. You can just give your suggestion on that point.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prof. Thank
That's
you.
right. I have talked so many about your this one. Okay, no problem. If you have any question, just keep it or write it down, put a note, and after my lecture, then we can talk more on this. All right, Saiful, and others
Yeah,
as
sure,
well.
sure, sure,
If
sure.
you have question, not only Saiful, others, if you have any question, please write it down, note it down. And after my lecture, please ask me, because sometimes when you text me, the question is such, and the clarification needs more, like what is that one? Means explanation. That time through WhatsApp, it's really very tough for me to write it down and clarify it. So that's why I always ask after class, or I also go for like having separate session with you, right, to give you more clarification. So you just write it down and just keep it with you. After my class, I will be clarifying everything. All right, so I go to the next slide then. Okay, then participatory observation, right? I mentioned that this one. So again, if we want to go for giving more details on this participative observation, usually what are the aspects are there? Our participation can be passive, it can be moderate, it can be active participation, or it can be complete participation. Miss Lu, sometimes I mentioned, right? So okay, I first I go for passive participation. What is passive participation? Passive participation means without being an integral part of that particular situation where you are observing the people, right? So that time when we will be collecting the data, it will be called passive participation, means almost no participation in that particular situation, means like environment, right? Situation. So it will be passive one. Then moderate participation means occasionally you will be interacting with those people who are involved there. Then active participation means you are going to engage in almost every activities in that particular situation, or in almost every in almost everything of the group under study, right? So that will be called as active participation. And complete participation means becoming a member of that particular group when you will be observing people. That time it will be called as complete participation. Passive participation I mentioned, right? So I have first day when I collected the data, observed the what is that one, flea market or weekend market. That time, the first day, it was my passive participation, right? Then moderate participation, when started talking or interacting like people, then it is moderate. It's not very actively I participated, but I like for a few activities I participated, and then I observe people. And active participation, I became what is that one, buyer, and I talked to the seller, and then my active means my involvement was very active. So that time it is active participation, right, for data collection. Then complete participation, right? So it can be like maybe if I just go for setting my own stall right over there. So then, and I become a seller in that particular situation, and I will be like observing people as well as will selling my products. So that time it will be called as complete participation, right? So this way. So now you can ask to what extent I should participate, or my observation will be like to what extent am I, what is that one, participation level will be. So it will be totally depends on the nature of your study and what type of information you actually require, and based on that you need to decide what should be your participation level. Okay, then go for what you need to observe in that particular. Of course, those people who are involved there, you are going to watch their activities, their behavior, their attitude. Before you go for uh, observing based on participatory level or participation observation will be there. So first you need to take the permission from the authority. If it's like a office environment, or if it's a factory life, or if it's a shopping mall, then you need to get the permission. If you just formally you go for observing people and collect the data, then you also need to, when you will be collecting the data or asking for the permission to observe people over there, so you also need to get what is that one, reference letter from your company or from your university. So those people who are going to collect the data through interview and also like through questionnaire survey, right? So survey questionnaire, then you need to maybe some of you need to get the reference letter from the university, right? So you can ask Mr. Rahman, I think you know, right, Mr. Rahman or Mr. Azam to give you the reference letter, so when you will be collecting the data. So usually when you will be getting the reference letter, you need to mention who is the, why you are going to collect the data, right? So if your study is sponsored by someone, then you need to also mention that why you are collecting the data and who is the sponsor. And then when you will be like collecting the data through this observation method, you need to make sure you are having a very good rapport with those people who are involved there. Otherwise, cooperation will be not that much, right? So you need to make sure you are doing all this stuff before you go for collecting the data. And what else we need to observe? Because when we will be talking about how we have collected the data, rather than those like what we have seen there, we also need to collect the data on space, objects, actors, feelings, and events. Space means from where you are collecting the data or you are observing that situation, that location is where, right? Then as well as the location is there, then objects, right? So the surroundings, right? The buildings, what other buildings are there in that particular situation, or if it's a office setting or a factory setting, then what are the machineries are there, what furnitures are there, then computers, then labs, what you have seen there. So all these things you need to talk about, or you need to give the description on those objects, as well as those people who were involved there, then their attitude, their behavior, as well as what particular activities are going on, right? Those events. So you need to observe all these things, because you need to describe when you will be discussing your research methodology chapter or your research methodology section. Okay. So then sometimes when we will be like observing the situation, we need to be very focused and selective, and we need to come up, before we go for collecting the data through observation method, we need to look for a storyline first. So based on the story, actually, what is your main purpose to do the observation, right? So of course you have some objective. So based on that objective, you need to come up with a storyline. So if I just give you my storyline for my research, actually, why I have observed those street hawkers or the street vendors, right, in that particular weekend market. My storyline is that I would like to see the way those street hawkers or vendors, they have positioned their stall, that whether they have stalled it in a proper manner or not. The location or the point they have what means like just dislocated their stalls, means whether means like it's conflicting with the next vendors or not, right? And the position that they have, whether they are getting the most customers or not, whether they are getting the what is the attention from the customers or not. So this way, whether they have actually properly positioned themselves or not. So I'm trying to give them a solution in such a manner using AI. Okay, AI will be helping me to set up them in such a manner in the particular position or in a particular point, so that they can get most of the customer. Okay, so that it will help them to sell their product or services, right? So this way, this is my storyline. So this way, those who are actually collecting the data or doing the research on that, so most of them, they should be having this storyline. So you need to look for a storyline first, and then you need to identify the regular activities as well as the irregular activities. And then also the storyline you already have in your mind, but whether you have some perception, right? When you will be observing, so you also need to find out is whether there is any variation in your storyline or not. So if you see any variation is there, then you need to also record those activities, right? And the variations as well, differences, that what you thought, but now actually in practically how you were seeing those activities or situation, right? Then look for negative cases or some exceptional cases and develop plan for systematic observation if it's needed. Then negative cases or exception. I have seen that, and also like I don't know, those who are actually nearby that particular um, Saturday market or weekend market or flea market, sometimes you will see that the immigration people will be coming, right? And those DBKL people will be coming to check their license, their permit, then if the foreign workers are working there, to see their work permit and so on, right? So all these things, also during, what is that one, the Raya, right? So some people, they just located their stalls in such a manner, actually, which were like, what is that one, making the walking areas, right, with what is that one, means traffic was too much there. So that time, like BBKL people came up with a pickup and just picking up all those stuff from the hawkers, right? So to what is that one, to get rid of them from the main road or something like that. So these are the negative cases or exceptional cases. So if you see any negative or exceptional cases in your study setting, you also need to observe and you need to write it down. Okay, then go for structured observation we are talking about, right? Okay, no, we actually went through the participative observation, right? Now, some of the structured observation, if we want to get a bit more data, so we can, structured observation I mentioned, right? You already need to have a predetermined, means list down the predetermined activities that you are going to watch, right? Or you are going to observe. So this structured observation can be highly structured, it can be semi-structured, or it can be non-experimental. Then highly structured means those activities you have already listed down, you are going to watch. Rather than those, you are not going to watch anything else. Okay, this is highly structured. Semi-structured, though you have the like predetermined activities to be observed, but rather than those, if you want to watch other activities, you also can, like this way, right? Like if you see some irregular activities or some negative cases, so in that case you can also record it down. So that will be semi-structured. And non-experimental, though you will be having a structured what is that one, is like activities to see or watch. Rather than those, you will be also looking for each and every activities, but main will be those predetermined activities as well as those other activities as well. So this is non-experimental, or like what the mystery shoppers are actually doing, that is actually non-experimental observation method. Okay, then go for, usually when we go for collecting the data, so it will be very tough for us to write down like what is that one, everything, right? So better to give some codes to those activities when you are going to observe those. Okay, so first of all, when you will be using coding scheme, so that time your coding scheme, in order to do it, you need to first identify what are the activities you are going to observe, right? So it should be very focused, what is to be observed. Then you need to have some objectives. So when you will be like giving the code to those activities, so those activities should be very clear, and it will be having a very detailed definition, as well as the way you will be coding the activities, it should be easy to use. So a good coding scheme needs to be easy to use, and it should be user friendly, right? And also those codes should be mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, means those codes should not be overlapping, right? And later when you will be trying to categorize those activities, so based on those code, you can do it easily. Okay, for example, I give you example, so it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, suppose, for example, right? Can you see these two code? What are those? Related to you, right?
Student ID. Yeah.
Student ID, right? Your matrix number. M means what? Any idea?
Masters.
Good.
Masters.
Yes. 23, 3.
Year.
Any idea?
Year join. March.
March intake. Very good. 01.
First semester.
Okay. Then, okay, next I go for this one. Then you are almost there, right? Okay, I'm coming on that. So M means masters. Then 2211 means your intake is
November
like you,
22nd.
yes, so November's intake 2022, right? And 0102, right? So 01. So if I go for collecting the data or like that, so all I will be knowing that M means like master's level. Then if I want to like categorize you, or I want to batch you, right? So I'll be able to know that this batch is like March 23 batch, then November 2022 batch, then 01, right? 01, whether you are local or not. 01 indicates local student and 02 indicates what? International student, right? And these are random number that is 1, 2, 3, 4 student number. Okay, so this way you can do the coding actually. So you need to make sure that those are mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, right? So this way you need to give the code. So this is like, I'm just like giving you example how we usually do the coding. But we for the observation purpose, so we can use the coding scheme like based on simple checklist, based on sequence record or sequence record on time scale, right? So now come one by one. Suppose I'm going to observe one of the bank's employees who are actually giving the services from the front desk. All right, so I'm going to, so this one is structured one, so I'm going to observe these few activities of them. So I'm going to code those activities. Hold on. Huh? So based on coding scheme, how I can record their activities. Okay. Suppose first Shuhada, right? Shuhada is there. Suppose I'm going to watch Shuhada's activities. I will be just sitting at the corner of your bank and I will be watching your activities. So what activities I'm going to watch? First, I will see how you deal with the customer. Then second activity will be for how long you are working with the computer, then chatting with colleagues, how much time you spend, as well as talking over the phone. Okay, then if I use just going to give the code 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 means dealing with customer, 2 means working with in computer, 3 chatting with colleague, 4 talking over the phone. Okay, now Shuhada, I'm going to watch you. All right. So suppose when I started watching her, I have seen that with a simple checklist, right? So she started dealing with the customer. So I put 1/ here. Then after completing the service with the first customer, then I have seen she is chatting with the colleague, right? So 3, I just put 1/ here. Then again, I have seen that she started giving the services to another customer. So I put / here. Then again, I have seen that talking over the phone. I put / here. Then I have seen that she is working with the computer. I put / here. Then again, I saw her to give the services to the customer. I put / here. So this way, most of the time, Shuhada is involved with what activities, so I can easily find it out. Yes or no? So with a simple checklist. Make sense or not?
Yes, bro.
Okay,
Yes.
then we go for the sequence record one, right? So then suppose Noor Hayati is my second one, second employee I'm going to observe. So Noor Hayati started like dealing with the customer. Then after completing the customer, she like talking over the phone. I put 4 here, right? Then I saw her working with the computer. Then like again dealing with the customer. Then sorry, again talking over the phone, dealing with the customer, then again chatting with the colleagues. So this way the sequence, right? So for what activities after what she is actually involved with for the whole day. Okay, so this is another way we can also go for recording the activities, as well as then the last one will be sequence record on time scale, right? So sequence record on time scale, right? It can be like 0 to 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. So this way you just go for putting the time, and then you watch, like suppose the next one will be Zulhilmi. Okay, Zulhilmi, I'm going to watch you. So this one, okay, Zulhilmi started dealing with the customer. For how long he took to deal with him or complete the task? So then within 2 minutes, he actually finished the task. Then started talking over the phone. Then talking over the phone, for how long he talked over the phone? Like almost 5 minutes, right? Then he started, after finishing talking over the phone, then he started working in a computer. Then after 2 minutes, again talking over the phone, how long he was engaged with over the phone. Then this way you just go for recording the activities, right? So using the coding scheme, this way we can also collect the data or record the activities. Okay, then next is, okay, I think that's all for how to collect the data through observation. Any questions so far?
What is the optimal duration or days that you should do your observation? Is it
It totally depends
10 to
on
1?
the nature of your study and your time duration for data collection. So you need to, what is that one? You need to decide it. You need to plan accordingly. It depends on for how long you will get time to collect the data or for how long you should go for observing the situation. Totally depends on your time limitation.
Yeah, thanks.
Hayati, it make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, all right.
Prof,
Then yes,
can you explain again how do we choose which standard coding schemes for our research?
for your research. So there are scheme like different scheme means like now what you are going to watch. It depends on you. Suppose like you give me some examples so that I can show you actually how to do it. Like it depends on like, okay, suppose this one dealing with customer, right? So suppose at a time you are watching few people. So if you want to give the code like 0, right? One means what? One means dealing with the customer. So then I just go for like dealing with the customer. If it's 1, right? I just go for giving the code like this way. 0, 1 means dealing with the customer. Then 0, 1, 2 will be like the female employees, right? So something like that. Then if I go for like 0, 2 will be, suppose 0, 2 will indicate, right? This one is female employees. Suppose then if I go for 0, 1, 0, 1, so 0, 1 will be, yes, activity will be dealing with customer, means I have observed that one is male employees. Oh, sorry, employees. I because I'm observing the people, means like employees, right? So 0, 2 employees, but the employees will be female. Then 0, 2 will be female and 0, 1 will indicate male. So like this way, you need to come up with your own coding scheme.
Understood. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, no problem. This different way you can give the code. I'm just giving some example how it can be done. So you need to make sure the code you are giving, it's clear to you and understandable to you, and you are easily using that code. So later on, it will be easier for you to analyze the data and record all the data. Don't go for any means like using very complicated coding scheme. Later on, it will be confusing for you. All right, so this way. So no questions so far, right?
So
On
meaning that,
observation.
Prof,
Yeah, yes, please.
no limitation on how we prepare our coding system, and do you need to mention it in our case study? What type of coding scheme that we use?
Yes, so how you have collected the data. So you just need to, like with few line, how you have done it, right? So you need to say like, yes, we have gone through like this. I just show you something. Hold on, huh? Just give me 2 minutes so that I can show you. It will be much more clearer to you how you can, is based on your convenience, how you can use the code. Okay, I just email to my from WhatsApp to here, and I can show you something. So it will be easier for you to understand document. Whether I have this one or not. I think I have already. So I share this one. Hold on. Okay. So share image. How I have used the code, I show you just. Hold on. Huh? I hope the email is there. Yeah. So for my case, so again, I'm saying most of you are not using the observation, but for future research, when you will be doing any research based on this observation, then how you can do it. So this way. Hopefully it's there already downloaded. image, right? Quickly, I show you. Okay. Can you see? Visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. I want to increase the
Size
size. Yes. How
on
to
the right
increase?
button of the.
Okay. Resize. Which one? There are some button, right? I think to increase. No, I
You
can't find.
click on the magnificent glass.
Yeah, where is that
On
one?
the
That's
right
why I
button.
was trying to find out. Hold on, and now it's like. Hold on.
Increase the percentage, Prof.
Is at the
Yeah,
bottom there? The
Where is the
bottom.
button? That's why I'm trying to find out where is the button to increase the
At the bottom.
at the bottom, right? Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. I go again. Where is my
Magnifying glass on the bottom.
yeah, that I was looking for. Where is the magnifying glass? Hold on. This one. Again, I open it. Yeah, right. Where is the magnifying glass?
The right
Bottom right.
bottom.
Bottom right.
Bottom, right? Then
68%.
That is 68% mentioned now.
oh, okay. Oh, now I found. Okay, thank you so much. Look, this one, if I just take it out. Look. Can you see these are the like some symbols, right? So symbol, when actually I went to the night weekend market, so I have passed by and see that in that particular road, what are the it's like is what type of products the hawkers are selling, right? So this one I just give the code like this way using this symbol, right? So this way, this like this one, this why like this way, why like it was just like the wine glass. Okay, so I symbolize it in such a manner. So when I put the y means this is actually y means all are actually what all are the
Drink
juices,
juices.
juices they are actually selling. Then if we just put the like this bullet, right, with the black color, that one means what? That one means actually the snacks, right? The snack hawker means the street vendors, they are selling this one. Then watch, then look what type of products or the stalls are there actually. Fruits, food, dress, hijab, then perfume, bags, bed cover, shoe, toys, cosmetics. So this is the way I actually give the code to collect the data. So this way, it depends on you actually what type of code you can use to collect the data, to use it to what observe those activities. Is it making sense actually for you? No, nothing particular that you have to means that use those code for your activities. So it totally depends on you.
So you are using symbols as a
Because for my case, I'm using symbol because my nature of the study is like this, right? So finding it out. So if I give the code, it will be a bit tough for me to write. What is that one? To use it. The way the map is there, it will be like if I go for like what is that one? Give it a very like big picture. So it will be very tough for me to record all this, right? So it totally depends on you how you are going to code it. Make sense?
okay.
Okay, then I just going for the next lecture. Okay, so this one, the lecture topic now I'm going to cover. This one is very important for you because most of you, 90%, 95% of you are going to collect the data through questionnaire survey, right? I mean survey questionnaire. Okay, now I'm going to okay. Okay, so Solle bin Hassan. Okay, you ask me this question later on after the lecture. Okay, then where I was. Okay, I need to show you this one now. Okay, so very important. So make sure you are understanding it properly. So, okay, data collection method through questionnaire. So what is questionnaire? Questionnaire is a pre-formulated set of written questions which you are going to give to your respondent. So your respondent can give their answer to your questions, right? So later on, after collecting the data through questionnaire survey and getting the answers from your respondent, so you will be able to analyze those data ultimately so that you can achieve your research objective, right? So this is the main role for questionnaire, right? So definition of the questionnaire is a pre-formulated set of written questions through which the respondent will be giving their answer and you are going to record their answer. So later on, those answers you are going to analyze and get the result so that that result will be helping you to achieve your research objective, right? Research objective, which one? In first chapter, you already prepared for, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So hope you are understanding. Okay. So questionnaire design, right? So when we will be designing our questionnaire for our survey, right? Survey questionnaire, we are going to prepare what we need to consider. First of all, you need to determine or you need to identify actually what should be there in my questionnaire. The second step will be what should be the form of my, okay. So what should be the response form of my questionnaire? Then what word should I use for my questionnaire? Then sequence of the questions, as well as you need to write down the cover letter. Okay, I will start one from step one, right? So what should be there? What should be the content of your questionnaire? In order to do this, what should be the content of your questionnaire? I will ask you, you refer to your conceptual model. You already have your conceptual model, right? I hope most of you, some of you still didn't send me any research title or topic. So except to those, then those who already came up with the conceptual framework. So you please refer to your conceptual model and then you will be able to get what should be the content of your questionnaire. So suppose, for example, if I just go for, hold on, I go for my research, I go for my conceptual model research methodology. Then I go to, sorry, I forgot to open it in advance. Okay. So suppose this is my conceptual model. Okay. So how many variables are here for this conceptual model? How many variables are there for the conceptual model? Suppose this is your conceptual model. How many variables are here for your conceptual model?
6.
6.
I said how many variables are there in conceptual
6.
model? Again, I am asking how many variables are there in your conceptual model?
7.
Who said 7? Lim, right?
Yeah.
Those who say 6, it's wrong. I asked how many variables. You are talking, I think, looking at the number of the hypothesis, you are saying like 6. I think so.
5.
Right? How many? How many variables?
5 variables.
7.
Mention Lim is right.
7. 7.
Variables. How many variables I mentioned, right? These variables are what variables? Independent variable. This is also variable, mediator. This one is another variable, dependent variable. Then total how many variables? This is my, like, okay. There are 7 variables, right?
Yes, 7.
7 variables. So if it's your conceptual model, you will be having like 7 variables. So you need to make sure your questionnaire has questions for all these variables. You need to have questions for this variable, this variable, this variable, this variable, this variable, this variable. I didn't say this one also. Like total 7 variables. You need to have questions for your respondents. Till here, clear or not?
Prof,
Yes.
for each variable, how many questions, yeah?
I'm
Is
coming
it
one by
depend
one.
on-
You give my answer first. You understood, right? So for
Yeah, yeah.
7 variables, you need to have questions. Vishant, I know you understood, but some others they will need some time. So that's a one by one I'm asking. So 7 variables. So you need to make sure for each and every variable you will be having questions, right? For your respondents. Okay. Now come to the point for each variable, how many questions you need for each variable. Some of you may not be having mediator, right? You may not be having moderator, so forget about this. But for your case, if you have conceptual model, refer to your conceptual model and see how many variables you have, including mediator, moderator, whatever variables you have used, right? So you need to make sure for each of the variable you will be having questions. So now come to the point for each variable, how many questions you need, that already Vishant asked, right? So for each variable, minimum 5 questions or items, we call it also as items, right? So minimum 5 questions or items you need to have to measure it. You can have more than 5, but minimum 5 you need to have, not less than 5 or not more than, not more than 5 should be okay, but minimum 5 you need to have. Like for perceived usefulness, 5 questions. Ease of use, 5 questions. Innovation, 5 questions. Reliability, 5 questions. Security, 5 questions. Investors trust, 5 questions. Trade online, how many questions?
5.
Okay, good. Now total, how many questions you will be having?
35.
35.
Oh, understood, right? So 35 questions you are going to have for your survey questionnaire. So for each variable, 5 questions. Okay, why 5 questions? So usually what we do, we do the, means like we develop the questionnaire based on the variable, 5 questions for each. So later on, after collecting the data, suppose 5 questions for each of these variable, right? So when you will be collecting data, after collecting the data, you are going to analyze it, right? When you will be running those data to get the results, some of the items or the questions for each variable, you will see that those are not fitting very well to measure these variables. So that time, if you see that the result is showing that some of the questions are not very fitting well to measure the variable, so that time you need to drop those questions. So suppose 1 or 2 or means very common, right? Means like uncommon, that 2 will be like not fitting well. Some 1 or 2 maximum, right? They may not be fitting well. So that time, if you see that the result is not very well to measure the um, those questions or items are not fitting very well to measure the variables, that time you need to drop those, right? So that at least if you see that out of 5, 2 variables are not fitting very well and you are dropping it, but at least 3 questions will be still there to measure your variable, right? So that's why we actually ask that minimum 5 questions you should be having in your survey questionnaire to measure your variable. And some of the students, what they do, they sometimes come up with the questionnaire for only for this independent variable. Then dependent variable, they don't come with the questions, right? Come up with the measurement variables, means measurement scale. So that time, if you don't have the questions for this, you are not able to measure this variable, right? So for measuring this variable, also you need to have questions. So don't forget that dependent variables means all variables, means including your dependent variable, you should be having your questions. So if you don't have the measurement scale or questions for this variable, then how you are going to test the relationship, right? So individually measuring each of the variable, then it will be giving you the result of the relationship. So this is the way how you need to consider your conceptual model. What should be the content of your questionnaire? Any questions so far?
Prof, for those questions that may not fit well, as mentioned just now, do we still need to take into consideration during analysis, data analysis?
Then you need to rerun, right? So dropping those items, then you need to rerun. Vishan.
Okay, clear.
All right, clear. Okay, now come to the point. These questions, right, to measure each of the variable, are you going to write it by yourself?
If we use questions that have been validated, is that okay? Questionnaire?
That's why, right? If you go for, that's why I asked, better not to come up with your own questions, or you are going to come up with your own measurement scale, right? So if you go for doing it by yourself, means it will be another research for you, right? To validate all those items and so on. So in order to avoid that, what we need to do, we are going to borrow those items or questions or measurement items, same thing actually. So in order to measure the variables, right, each of the variables, we are coming with the questions, right? Means those questions that time will be called as what? Measurement scale for measuring this variable. Make sense? So those will be questions, will be measurement items or measurement scale, right, for this variable. So what we do, we usually go for borrowing those measurement items or measurement scale for each of these variables from the previous studies. Those authors who have already developed the measurement scale for those particular variables, we just borrow those questions from them and we just rewrite those questions based on our context, right? Suppose trust, investors trust. So you will be getting so many measurement scale, not only on trust. It might not be investors trust. It can be customers trust. It can be employees trust. But trust is the main one, right? So even if you get any measurement scale on trust, but trust is on employees trust, you can just go for changing those questions rather than employees trust to investors trust. Are you getting my point? So you just need to modify the questions. But trust items are there, but trust of whom? Trust of investors rather than employees trust or the consumers trust or customers trust. Make sense or not? How you need to modify the questions, right? Or the measurement items based on your context. Suppose perceived usefulness, perceived usefulness of this what? Online platform. So perceived usefulness will be very general. Maybe perceived usefulness has been measured by other people. To measure means other things, right? Context is different. Now you borrow those items, questions, but you just go for editing it, modifying it, changing it, and just come up with your own questions. But the measurement items for this variable, you got those items from which reference or from which author or which source you have used, you need to also mention it in your research methodology chapter. Okay, so that is called operationalization of variable or measurement scale of variable. Same thing. Make sense or not?
Prof, so meaning we just go and search in the internet for any questionnaire related to our study, and then try make it as a reference and modify it to fit into our questionnaire, right?
Very good. Yes, Ferdinand, that's the way.
Okay, thank you.
So you just took like investors trust, measurement scale of trust. Just go for Googling it. Measurement scale of, just like this. I'm just giving you an example, right? So you just Googling it, measurement scale of trust. So you just go for measuring trust, how to do it. Like, so you just click on it, see this author has any like, what is that one, measurement scale and how they have done it, what questions they have used. You just copy it and just, if it's like, if you see that, yes, it's actually fitting well with your study, then you just copy those items and just modify those and prepare your own survey questionnaire. So like this way. Understood, right? What Ferdinand just mentioned, that's the way how to come up with the questionnaire for the survey. Okay, then I was where? Makes sense, right? Now, can I move? Okay, now already you know, determine the content of the questionnaire, right? So I already mentioned that, yes, just refer to your conceptual model and find out all the construct whatever is there in your framework and just go for measuring it. So there are two types of variables right here. So not variables, sorry, two types of construct, variables, factors, whatever you say, it's actually same thing. Some of the factors, some of the variables, that will be called as objective construct, which we can measure asking only one question, means using only one item, measurement item. When we will be able to measure it, that time it will be called as objective construct. Usually if we use like demographic variable or our moderator, right? So that time asking only one question will be enough to measure it. Suppose your, for my case, right? Suppose for my research, look for this one. Hey, where is my, suppose this one, right? You already know this one is moderator and this one is mediator, right? So for moderator, right? My moderator here is generational cohort. You are in which generational cohort? You are under which generational cohort? Just asking one question to measure this. So I can just ask this one, right? Measuring what means using only one item, I can easily measure it. So if I refer to my research question, right? So generational cohort. Please choose one of the following statements that best describe you. These are all the characteristics of generational cohort. So I asked the question, like only one question I asked, and they will be just ticking actually they are under which generational cohorts characteristic. So asking one question, you can easily measure this generational cohort. So this type of construct or variable will be called as objective construct, where we are going to use only one item. But those items are those construct which we are going to measure based on multiple items, that will be called as subjective construct. Suppose for example, right, suppose this religiosity, this consumer attitude, this consumer intention, all will be subjective construct, because in order to measure these variables, independent, dependent, and mediator, I'm going to use, I have used more than 5 questions, right? Again, religiosity, I'm just saying like belief, practice. So these are the subdomain. So if you don't have, just ignore it. I'm just for making you understand. I'm just trying to tell you. So for each of these variable, I need to have 5 items, minimum 5 items. Consumer buying behavior, 5 items. Purchase intention, 5 items. Look, if I refer to my questionnaire, look, purchase intention, right? How many items I have used? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 items to measure this purchase intention. So this is subjective construct. For like buying attitude, I have used 5 items, right? More than 5 items actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 items. Okay, but I said minimum 5, right? So 6 items I have used for this one to measure this buying attitude. So this construct or this variable will be called as what? Subjective one, right? And moderator I have used in my conceptual model, I have used only one item. That one is called as objective construct. Now, any questions so far to make it clear?
Prof, regarding just now, you mentioned each variable to have minimum 5 questions, right? So, do we need to come up with a set of questions which is like sort of like conclusion of the whole questionnaire, and also
No.
the
demographic variables, you can like go for one section, demographic profile, because demographic profile you need to explain in your research method. Okay, so for this one, demographic method will be one section like this way. I just show you. Hold on, I'll just show you here. Like at the end, usually I prefer at the end you just go for demographic information. So one section will be demographic section regarding the respondents information. All right.
Okay, so for this section, is there any restriction on the number of questions?
It depends on like you always
inform-
try to give less questions, otherwise the length of the question will be too many, right? So need to most important one you just go to ask. Try
Okay.
to make it like short.
Simple.
Otherwise, yeah, simple. Otherwise, those most important information you try to get. Okay. Otherwise, like if the length of the question is, you just think about yourself. If we go for it's like if we get any email to participate in any survey, right? If we see the length of the question, we just go for ignoring it. We don't go for participating, right? So like
Yeah,
this
true.
yeah, so this way practically you need to think about it, and then you need to decide particularly which information you need to it's like get it from your respondent. Okay, Lim?
So means a conclusion no need, just that in each
Yeah, just go for one section. Yes, additional information you can get, but like just asking a simple question, you can just go. I'm coming on that, Lim.
Okay, right. Okay.
So one by one. Okay, but so
Right.
up to this, is it clear? Any question from others? Okay. If not, you just put the note. Later on, you can ask me. Okay, then response format, it can be close-ended, it can be open-ended, right? Close-ended, you already know, you will be giving the option for your respondent. So, and usually even if we just go for using the close-ended question, it will help your respondent to quickly come up with their decision, right? So their answer, so that they can quickly pick up from the multiple, what is that one? Choices, something like that, right? So they can easily tick it and help researcher to code it later on. An open-ended question, if you give like close-ended, you are just like limiting it, right? Rather than those options, if your respondents have like some other answer, then that time you are not going to get it. But if you use the open-ended, so it will be giving the option to your respondent to give their point of view. So unbiased point of view you can also get, as well as sometimes we use this open-ended question addition means like complementary to this, which will be acting as a complementary to this close-ended to get like some additional insight or view of the respondent. So complementary to close-ended question. So for interpretation purpose, we can use those open-ended question. But again, Lim, you can say like how many even if we are using close-ended, then how many open-ended questions? Just go for like one, maximum two questions you can ask to get ask to your respondent to get some additional information, right? Later on, it may help you to interpret your results or something like that. Otherwise, like just go for using close-ended. For your case, go for close-ended question using the response scale, right? Measurement response scale. So response scale means you need to just mention that whether you are going to use 3 point, 5 point, 7 point, or 9 point Likert scale. There are so many Likert scale, right? But there are some advantages and disadvantages. But most of the cases, like 5 point and 7 point Likert scales are used by the authors. The mostly used scale is 5 point and 7 point scale. And whether you are going to use 5 point or 7 point, it totally depends on what type of data you want and what survey questions you are asking. So then you just go for like justifying why you are using 5 point and 7 point Likert scale. Okay, then come to the third step. That one is questions wording. You need to be very, very careful about the wording that you are using for your questions. The first one is avoid double barrel question. So double barrel question is the questions should not be such that the question will be having, the question will be having like two answers from the respondent. So, okay, I'll give you example for double barrel question. Means suppose one of the company is going to launch a new product to the market and they're going for the market survey. So the question could be like this: do you think this product has a good market and it will sell well? Means, yeah, you can say like, yes, the product has a good market, but whether it will sell, it might not be sell well, right? So there are two answers. One is yes, another one is no. So rather than putting like this way, you just go for separating it. You just go for splitting the questions. Do you think this product has a good market, will be having a good market and it will be selling well? So just go for splitting it and go for separate questions. So avoid double barrel question. Then go for avoiding ambiguous question and word. Means like try to means like avoid that unclear question which is not like very clear to your what is that one respondent, means like from what aspect the questions are from the researcher, right? So these unclear questions and wording could be like, to what extent you are happy. So if the question is like this, then it can be like whether it's in general, it might be coming to your respondent mind, whether I'm happy from my personal life, whether it's from my office life or like my social life. So you need to make it very clear or specific, right? And then go for use of ordinary word rather than using some technical word or scientific word which your respondents are not aware of, or they haven't is like heard about that word. So don't use those words, just go for using the ordinary and simple word. Then avoid leading or biasing question. Leading or biasing question means the way means like that will be benefiting you. So just go, or the way the answer that will benefit the researcher. If the question is like this, don't go for that biasing question to ask to your respondent. Suppose for example, nowadays the living expense is getting higher and higher, so in this case, to what extent you agree that the employer will increase the pay scale, right? So that time everybody we will say yes, yes, yes. But we need to also talking of means like think about our employer's point of view, right, as well. So this type of leading or biasing question should be avoided. Then social desirability, the way the society will be like appreciating your answer. So for the social desirability aspect, if you just go for asking the question and respondent will be giving the answer, that one will be complying with the society's desirability, then that time you should also avoid this. Suppose for example, like that there are advantages and disadvantages to like retain or keep the elderly employees, right? So in this case, if you just go for asking the questions, to what extent you are agreeing that the company should keep the elderly or the senior employees in pay scale, right? So that time everybody will be saying yes, yes, yes. Though in your mind you are saying that they should not be keeping in the company, but you are saying that yes. So this way you try to avoid, so that your answer means like you are not going to get the clear picture, right? Real picture. Then avoid recall dependent questions. So something like this, that if you ask your employees like this way, the questions will be that 30 years back when you first started your job, in which department you were in and what were your responsibilities 30 years back, what happened, how it happened. So it might be hazy in your respondent's memory, right? So try to avoid this type of recall dependent question. This is like in general I'm saying. So usually in future research, if you go for preparing your own questions, so for your survey question, then try to avoid this type of wording. Okay, then questions wording, like using positive and negative statement at the same time, like this way. Dresner, it's a company, so Dresner delivers high quality banking service. The next time you are saying Dresner has poor customer operational support, so you are just asking the respondent to ranking it. So rather than using like to extreme statement, you just go for to what extent you will rank the service quality of Dresner, to what extent you will rank the customer operational support of Dresner. So this way you just go for make it general, and then you ask your respondent to rank it or just give their answer. Okay, in measurements, what is that one? In response scale, 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, so something like that. Then come to, this is one of the important one, limit the length of the questions. So sometimes when I was like giving the example of these questions, right, I said like very long questions. So we should, when we will be preparing our questionnaire for the survey, so that time we need to make sure our questionnaire means the question is not too long, so that it will take time for your respondent to read it and answer it, right? So rule of thumb for length of the question should be less than 20 words. And when you will be writing it or printing it, it should be in one full line in length, right? So one full line in print, and it should be minimum 20 words. Actually, it's very tough for us to make it like one full line in print. So if you, even if you see my questions, right? So it's like more than one line. So it's sometimes it's like more than one line, so 2 lines. So this is very black, but try your best to like make it shorter. So it totally depends on you, but you know practicality, right? That people will not be like happy to read all those long questions to give the answer. So then maybe halfway they will be filling your question and then they will leave it. Okay, so like this way, then where I was. Okay, question sorting done. Okay, question sequence. Now come to the question sequence. So start with the easy question and then gradually go for asking the difficult question. This is actually funnel approach. So from the broader aspect to the specific one. Then ask the question from the general, start with the general one and then go for asking the specific question. So usually personal and sensitive data at the end, we usually go for asking it. But some students, they start with like the section with the demographic variables. I usually don't prefer that you ask the demographic information first. Means the first section should not be demographic. Usually it should be at the end of the questionnaire, but most of the cases people just put, I don't know, some researcher maybe they prefer it at first, but I prefer, personally I prefer that the demographic and personal information should be asked at the end. Okay, now come to the last step of your questionnaire. That one, you need to prepare the cover letter. So cover letter is your introductory page of the questionnaire. So it should be at the top of the questionnaire. So in your cover letter, it will include your identification, right? So your identification, then why you were actually conducting this research, what was the motivation, and also you need to motivate your respondent that how their participation can contribute to your research to complete your thesis or your research, which will be actually contributing to the society and so on. So you need to give some statement in such a manner so which will give the motivation to your respondent to participate in your survey. Then you also need to mention in your cover letter that the information or the answer they are giving, those information will be keeping confidential. So that one also need to be mentioned in your cover letter, as well as then later on you just thanking your respondent and conclude it. So for example, I just give you one example from my one. So this one might be okay. So this one is my cover letter for my research. It was for my research, so introducing myself, then why I'm doing this research, then this one is for my research purpose, then I mentioned, then for how long it will take, then it must be stressed that, okay, then how their participation will contribute to your, what is that one, to your research, and then lastly, you also need to mention that their information will be strictly confidential, right? And for how long those information will be kept, and then after that particular time period you are going to destroy all those information. So this way you just need to mention and then later thanking them and give your details here. So this way you can prepare your cover letter. So cover letter is the introductory part of your survey questionnaire. All right, so then I move to, okay, so mentioned already, right? Okay, so that's the cover letter part. I think that's all for the how to develop your survey questionnaire. Yeah, question from your side. Any question? All okay?
Prof, is there any reason why the demographic part cannot be should be at the last instead of to be the first?
So there is nothing like we want the most important means the information first, right? To measure our variables. Then later on, we can just go for get the what is that one, so that people will not be like start with the demographic variable, then they will be like getting it. This is like means people's psychology. So then it's taking long time, so they just go for like halfway, they just leave to complete the what is that one, complete the participation, so complete
Basically,
the
just a psychologically reason.
yeah. Yes, that's it. That's why I said, yeah, I prefer, because for my case, yes, I feel that okay, the most important, they need this information first, so they just give it, then yeah, then later on they can be relaxed and then just go for giving their demographic information. That's it. Ferdinand, make sense?
Yes,
You
Prof.
can
Thank you.
put at the beginning, no problem on that. But personally, I prefer. That's what I mentioned. Okay. So, any more question? Then I move to give you like simple information for your sampling size. Okay, sampling size, how to calculate it. So I just like give you the, I don't want to make your life complicated, so I just give you some basic information. Okay, so operationalization of variable hypothesis, how this I have already talked about. So then go for sampling procedure. Usually you just mentioned that whether you are going to use probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, we usually go for using it when we already know the population size, right? I previously I mentioned that in order to uh, calculate your sample size, you need to first come up with your population size. So without population size, you just can't justify why your sample size is 100, 30, 30, 300, sorry, 100, 300, 350, 400, and so on. I'm just saying. So when you will be discussing your or explaining your sampling procedure, you need to come up with whether it's probability sampling. If it's probability sampling, so you need to make sure the population is known. And non-probability sampling, we usually go for following it when we don't have the population size. It's unknown. Population size is unknown, so that time we just go for non-probability sampling. Now come to the point how you can calculate your sample size. In order to come up with the sample size, then you need to have your population size first. So using the Taro-Yemen table, most simple one, if you want to calculate, you can use Taro-Yemen table or Cressy-Morgan, that one. I'm writing it down here in your chat box, right? Whether I have written it, okay, but I just put it here. Using one more slide. Oh, sorry. What I'm doing, just putting it like this. I'm supposed to write it down in advance. Let's see. Hope I have written it. 1970. Sorry, 1970. Cressy-Morgan 1970, or you Taro-Yemen, or you can use Cressy-Morgan. Hold on, huh? I just Cressy and table, Cressy and Morgan table. Okay, so this one. So either you use Cressy and Morgan table, or you can just go for using Taro-Yemen table. Okay, where I was. Okay, this one or this one. This one. Okay, so this one you can use. So for your understanding, I make it. Percy Morgan, 1970 or Taraman. Okay, because Taraman is here, so I just go for. Okay, then you can see that this one is 5%, 7%, plus minus 10%, right? So this one is the precision level. So this one is called sampling error, right? Is the range in which the true value of the population is estimated to be, right? So this one is like sampling error. So sampling error, you can be using plus minus 5%, plus minus 7%, or plus minus 10%. Suppose your population size is 100, right? So with precision level of 5%, with confidence level of 95, then you can just say that my population size will be 81. So even if you are not getting 81 people out of 100, you just go for giving the justification that 10% sampling error, I can use 51 people as my sample size to conduct my research. Then if your population size is like more than 100,000, then with 5% it will be 400. If it's like 7% precision level, then 204 will be enough. But even if you don't get any like 204 respondent, then you just go for using at least 100 respondent or sample size to conduct your research. Make sense or not?
Oh,
Just go for using that. Yes, I have used Harvey-Yeaman or Percy Morgan formula and use this using this sample size. My sample using this population size, my sample size will be 100. Yes, please. So
Yeah,
pin.
yeah. How do you get the number with the precision error? Like the 3%, 5%, 7%, and how do you get
It depends on you. It means like there is the formula, right? So rather you just don't. I don't means like you if you just go for like using like what is that one 5%, right? So if you just like to reduce the sampling error, if you just like 5% if you want to use, then your population your sample size will be 81. Then 81 is very tough for you to get, right? So you need to justify that yes, for the time limitation and due to the what is that one response rate, then I could not manage to get 81. So at least means like 10% precision level, I'm using 51 sample size to conduct my research. So this way you need to justify.
So there's a formula to
Yeah,
calculate.
there's the formula. Yeah, exactly.
So
There's
we
the
just
formula.
Google Taro Yamane and then we'll get the formula to calculate.
Yes, you don't need to go for use the formula. Using formula, they already calculated for you. You just use this table and just use the number. Yeah, but you need to give the reference. Yes, using the Taro-Yeaman table, I got this sample size of 51, or if you just say like 81, it's up to you.
So we just look for the nearest number lah.
Yeah, nearest number. Yeah. So you first, but before that, you need to identify your population size.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. So that's why I say that to make your life easy. Yeah, otherwise, like you just go for using everything 5%, 10%. So using the formula, no need for using formula. They already calculated it. You just use this reference. All right. And another one nowadays people are using raw soft, right? Yes, hold on. Huh? I just go for this one. Soft. Sample size calculator. You can also use this one, raw soft, and then you can just put your population. Sorry, so these are like there are some what is that one tutorial and so on how to calculate. So you just need to put your numbers and it will be calculating automatically what will be your sample size. Now, yes, what's the question? Yes, who was asking question for me? Yes, please.
Yeah, just one note. Can you share
Yeah.
how can we get the accurate population size? What are the
Population
sources for
size,
that?
you need statistical report, or from the what is that one from the company report, you need to get this population size. Usually statistical report or any other source, any other author who already have mentioned that yes, the population size is that, and they got that size from where, what is the source, so you can also use that one. Okay, Muhammad, right? Muhammad Azharuddin.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Azharun, sorry, Azharun, right? So population is usually
Yep.
the statistical report or company report, industry report. So from there we usually get it.
Prof, how
Yes,
about if the
please.
size of the population that we're going to sample is less than 100? So what are the closest number that we need to use?
Then like actually then it will be very tough if you say like less than 100. So it will be, then you have to you need to try your best to cover all those means like the whole population. Otherwise, like if it's less than 100, then the result will not be very strong, right? It will not be robust.
See, because I intend to use my own company to do the research.
Yeah, yeah,
There will be different workstation. So
yeah.
maybe the size of the population might not be more than 100. So that
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that time try your best means then you can say like you can justify that you could not get like more than 100 because your size of your population is such, right? So you tried your best with this one. So usually like less than 100 we use it for the what is that one, for pre-test, right? So at least you can do it and say that yes, this is the result, but for the limitation you could not get like 100, so that you can justify that whether the result is actually the real picture is portraying or not.
meaning if it's less
Prof,
than 100, then I need to do my best to get the whole
Yeah,
samples.
exactly.
I see. All right. Okay. Thank you.
So that's a minimum 100 for to keep yourself in safe side, right? So you need to get like at least 100. Otherwise, your examiner will be keep asking you 100. It's not many people. So why not you considered? Why didn't you consider other companies and so on? This way they can ask you, or you need to justify them.
Or can I combine it, Prof? I
Yeah.
mean, instead of separating, I mean, getting the sample based on workstation, I just lump sum them together under the same company.
Yeah.
Means that it reach more than 100, then to fulfill that requirements. Is that okay to do so? Just by going combining all the total numbers of workers instead of going separating.
Yeah, can also. Then you can say like rather than like, then you just go for like, you try first like from not only from that particular company or department, right? And then
Yes.
you can say like that you can go for another one, and later you can just discuss why you have considered those people as well, rather than not only for that particular department or company.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
whatever you do, you just need to justify. You need to give your explanation. That's the research all about.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
All right. Okay, no problem. Okay, then where I was, okay. So sampling size is okay, right? Now come to the point. So this one, data analysis tool. Some people, you know what they do. Though I have given like one of the section or one of the what is that? Yes, one of the section in research methodology, data analysis tool. Means I know that you are not going to means like do the analysis, but at least in your research proposal you need to mention what statistical tool you are going to use for your study. So the basic statistical tool or the software is SPSS for analyzing your data, right? So if you don't have any idea actually which software you are going to use, but at least during presentation or when you will be preparing your proposal, you should say that SPSS you are going to use. But other softwares are also there, other advanced softwares are also there, that is like structural equation modeling. In order to do the path analysis or hypothesis testing, we can also use like PLS or AMOS, right? So these are the two other softwares. Those are a bit advanced level. So AMOS and PLS you can also use for your data analysis. But those who really would like to do a good analysis using advanced level software, you can use AMOS or PLS. Otherwise, if you don't have any like means idea, then the basic SPSS you should use for your data analysis. And which software you are going to use during presentation as well as in your written proposal, you need to mention it. Okay, and also just mention why. If you use SPSS, then why you are using, then don't just like, this is the basic one, that's why I'm using, but some advantages are there, right? For SPSS, some advantages are there for MOS and PLS. So you just justify your using your that particular software, just using those, and just give the justification why you are using that particular software. That's it. I think that's all from my side for today's lecture. Anything else? Now I'm opening the floor for you. Hold on. Anything you'd like to ask me regarding the lecture or anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to stop sharing.
Hi, Doctor.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Kaushalya. Yeah, Kaushalya.
yeah, Doctor, because so far for the last week and this week's lecture is on questionnaire, observation, and interview, right?
Yes.
So for those experiment basis, right, what would be the data collection mode?
What type of experimental research you are going to do?
It's like, for example, I'm trying to go on the recovery of a waste, right? So I'm based on data that I receive. It's all in numerical. So I do not need human participation in it. So what would be the...
So it will be like data collection from the secondary source, right?
Yeah, it's what I...
Yeah, some of the students, yes, you are going to use the databases. Data are already there. So you need to explain. So what are the sources you have used and how you have recorded all the data. So you just need to explain it accordingly.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so practically how you have done it, just explain it. It's not that means forcefully you need to say, yes, I'm going to do the interview, I'm going to use the observation, I'm going to use the survey questionnaire. No need. Then if you are using already existing data are there, right? And for what purposes those data have been collected, or those are actually, it's like kept in record. So you just need to explain it, and you need to tell that from there what particular information you have collected and how you have analyzed it. So that way you can explain it, Kaushalya.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Doctor.
All right? Okay, no problem. Yes, Ferdinand. You were
Prof,
asking.
the SPSS just now you mentioned, is it available in the internet that we can use or
I think
download?
that one is available with our library in our lab actually. So if you want to, otherwise you need to arrange it, Ferdinand.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
All right. Okay, so then what else? Okay, now come one by one. Yes, hi.
Doctor, I asked a question before about reference for our paper critique. Is it necessary?
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm coming one by one. Those who actually sent the text, right, during last week. So I was really very busy with other meetings and like other, it's like, how to say, like my other responsibilities I was busy with. So that's why I could not like last day, Friday, right? I could not answer your reply your WhatsApp text. So paper critic, right? So paper critic, right? So paper critic, if you are criticizing it using other people's references, right? Other is supporting your criticism and you are getting the support from other references. If you are using it, then you need to put the references, otherwise no need. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can, right? Sole, I don't know whether he heard it or not.
Yes, I hear.
Okay, so you understood, right? So if you are using other people's like support, using their statement to justify your criticism, then you can use your, so you should use the references. If not, then no need.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now come to the midterm test. Midterm test is on when?
19 May.
19 May.
19th May, right? Some of you mentioned that you have like some what is that one, other engagement, you have some problems and so on. If it's the case, then you need to email me or WhatsApp me with valid documents. Okay, with valid document. You need to justify why you can't sit for the exam on 19th May from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. right? So those who are not able to sit for the exam on 19th May, then I'm going to take the replacement midterm exam for you, and question will be different. It will not be the same one, right? And later on, I'm going to fix the date and time and announce it. So make sure that you are attempting the second one. If not, the second one, if you are going to miss it, then I'm sorry, I will not be able to take the midterm exam anymore. Okay, so for your conveniency, again, those who are not able to sit for the exam on 19th May for valid reason, then I'm going to consider you to sit for the replacement exam or set B, right? And or my dear, how I can publish the midterm exam in Erox? It will be for 2 hours exam, and on that particular time I'm going to publish it. Otherwise, what's the point that I'm going to midterm exam? No, I'm not going to publish it in advance. So you real-time exam, so you need to sit for the exam and answer it.
So
Okay, hold on.
for the midterm exam, any guideline? I mean, any particular topic that you're going to?
Particular topic will be, so far whatever I have covered, all those will be the, what is that one, syllabus for your midterm exam. The topics so far I have covered.
So all the topics that have been covered.
All the topics will be covered. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And then supervisor,
for,
right?
For this one, we don't need to send for the Turnitin, right?
No need for this one. No need. So I'm coming one by one. Then the question was for supervisor. So whether you are going to get the supervisor for this, preparing for this research proposal, no. Research proposal for this is course, right? So you are not going to get any supervisor. I'm supervising you at this moment. But for your research paper, research project, you are going to get the supervisor. Those your other classmates, those who already got the supervisor, means they have already registered for their research project, so that's why they got the supervisor. For those who are just currently means like taking this research methodology class or course, I'm the lecturer who will be like what is that one, means helping you to prepare the research proposal. Okay, so when you will be taking or registering for the research project, that time school will send you the email asking you that who you would like to nominate, which faculty member you would like to nominate as your supervisor. Okay, then after you replying your that email from the school, then we will be having a research committee meeting. Okay, in that meeting, then we will be having a look that whether that particular faculty member can supervise you or not, right? Then after getting the approval, then we will be asking you, okay, this person is your supervisor, now you can communicate with them. All right, so Mr. Raman will be giving you the information time to time basis. So before you start the semester for your research project, we will be doing all this stuff, no worries about it. Okay, so and for your research proposal, written one, right? Written proposal, written one, you should attach your Turnitin report. Without Turnitin report, you are not going to get a very good mark. Okay, later don't blame me please, because from the beginning, from the first class, I'm saying Turnitin report is must for your written research proposal. For paper critic, actually I don't need the Turnitin report, but some of you have given it, very good, I'm happy, but it is not mandatory. But for research proposal, written research proposal, I need the Turnitin report, and it must be less than, your similarity index should be less than 20%. Okay, now what's the question? Hi, Prof. Okay, if you don't want, by research about social media, how do I count the sample are foolish? Research, if you just say social media of what? Because at this moment, if you just say like social media without getting the proper title, I will not be able to tell you what should be, who will be the respondent. Shamsul Baria. Huh? You need to give me the proper title. Otherwise, if you just say social media, then it's not making sense for me to give you the suggestion. Actually, who will be your respondent and what will be your population. So later on, you just WhatsApp me the title, and then I can give you the suggestion. What will be yours? What will be your population size? Okay, Shamsul Baria, right? Okay. So at this moment, just social media, if you say, it's not making sense. So we need to make sure that it's very specific. Okay, look, some of you still didn't send me the research title, topic, research area, nothing. But you will keep asking me what should be your, how to do the paper critic. How to do the paper critic, and look, paper critic should be based on the journal article. Yeah. Again, to make it more clear for those who missed it, right? Again, I'm saying, and this is the last time I'm saying. So paper critic, right? You need to do the paper critic based on any journal article related to your research topic. Okay. Sorry. So related to your research topic, select a journal article and do the paper critic based on the table or the template I have given you in UROX, right? And some of the points that is given in the template may not be covered by that particular journal article. If those particular topic in the template is not been addressed by that particular journal article, you just go for ignoring it. Okay, so that's my comment or the suggestion for the paper critic. Okay, my research about, okay, this one is the same one. Then at this one, can we still change our, if you are very confident that you will be able to complete it, changing your research title, I don't have any problem.
Doctor, I have a
Yes,
question. Previously I did ask you about the empirical research, right?
Yeah.
Because the literature review is on the intro part and basically on the concept. But if let's say empirical is based on the data, so do I just summarize the journals on the methodology part for the empirical research because it's based on the data, right?
Oh, for your case, right, Kaushalya?
Yeah.
So you are going to get the data from where? Again, from those
the journals that I review. So if let's say on the literature review portion will be on the introduction, the basic concept of the particular system. But so for empirical research, does it mean
Kaushalya, your one will be the conceptual paper or what?
It's experiment based, but because I'm a bit confused between the empirical research and the literature review, how do I differ it?
Means like empirical research and literature review. So empirical research, right, which has already been done by other people, right?
Yeah.
And you are just reviewing it. So based on that review, you just came up with your own model, right? Conceptual model or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then what you want to do means like, then what will be next? What will be your analysis?
So what do I write in the empirical research? That's why I want.
Empirical research means what? You are just summarizing. It's like you are reviewing it, and what based on your review, what you found, that should be there in your literature review.
So is it, do I look at the data they collected and their result and discussion? Or
all will be there in your literature review, Kaushalya. That all should be the part of your literature review. I'm not sure. I thought maybe you have your database. That's why you want to just go for using those to analyze your, what is that one? The conceptual model that you have developed.
Because based on the template, like 2.2 is theoretical foundation, and then we have 2.3 is empirical research, right?
Okay, hold on. I show you something. I think you are getting a bit confused now. Hold on. Theoretical and what is that one? empirical research, right? Hold on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
look, this one is one of my actually template, right? That not template means the PowerPoint slides I have used for my one of my research, right? So look, theory means like literature review, theories, right? The theories that will be giving you some idea, right? Those ideas that will help you to. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Hold on. Just a minute. I open again my. Sorry, hold on. Search methodology. Just give me a minute. I open it first. Actually, sorry. If you have class, right? Others, if you don't have any question, if you would like to leave the session, you can. Others, if you have time, just give me 5 to 10 minutes extra so that I can finish the class. Because this is our last lecture, right? So those who have like questions, you can ask me. So let me share my screen quickly with you. One. Okay, you can see hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, this one of my presentation slide, and my research is on attitude towards Islamic retirement savings, a study on Waqf pension scheme, right? So in this way, what I have done, just given like the background, then significance of the study, then objective, then research question, you also need to write it down, and then theoretical underpinning. So look, in literature review, is underpinning theories are like theories related to what? Related to my this retirement savings or people's attitude towards pension scheme and so on, right? So related to this topic, that what other theories are there? Look, religion, customer relation, behavior, relationship theory is there, theory of planned behavior is there, theories of aging is there. So based on this theory, actually I got some idea and I just came up with this conceptual model. Okay, and so these are theories. Theory means theory, right? And this then also based on what? Main findings of literature review. All those literature reviews or the empirical researches have been done, right? So you need to review everything related to this topic. Whatever means like empirical research you will get, you need to review it and you need to talk about it here in your literature review chapter. Kaushalya, are you getting my point? So based on theories and all the empirical research, actually I came up with this conceptual model. So if you are saying empirical research, you need to talk about it in your research methodology chapter because you already have reviewed it here.
Okay, so because in like let's say if that's the case that the conceptual
Framework
framework is actually the empirical research, right?
Based on that ideas or yes, the findings you got with the support of those empirical researches, then you came up with this conceptual model.
Okay, then because there's another breakdown which is 2.4 proposed conceptual framework.
Yeah.
So that is based on my experiment. So the empirical research would be the
conceptual model is based on concept, right? Concept you got from where? Got from the theory as well as from the previous studies, empirical studies, right? And then you came up with your own model. This is your model.
Okay. So the empirical research is basically the
other people
dependent variables.
Yeah. Tell me again.
So like the empirical research is basically the conceptual model of their journals, not my journal. Something like
conceptual model will be, look, conceptual model will be your model, right? Based on this theories concept as well as those other people's findings and their concept. Then you came up with your own conceptual model.
Okay.
You got my point. But you were trying to do the research based on other people's findings and then you come up in you want to do the analysis. But it should not be like this. based on these theories, concept, as well as those concepts you got from other people's work, and then you came up with your own model. This way. I thought you already have your databases for your case, because I just simply can't remember all, but what I understood that maybe you got the
Because I have my data and
okay.
my findings, and I develop my conceptual model based on my findings. I mean, my
Okay.
data. So that's why I was a bit confused on the literature review
Then
part.
okay, literature
Yeah.
review empirical research means like it should be the part of literature review chapter. Okay, and based on those empirical research and theories, so whatever it is, then you come up with your own conceptual model, and then you need to analyze it. If you already have the information of all your variables here from your existing database, then you can use it to analyze it, to test your hypothesis and test your conceptual model.
Okay.
All right.
Understood. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Then who else? Okay. So look, for your presentation, right? So presentation, I think you are going to get maximum, including your question and answer session, or like not question and answer session. This one is actually comments and suggestion for your case, right? So don't make it like too long. So just the main things you just need to present it. You just give me the background. Of course, title should be there. Give me your background of the study, then why your research means how your research will be contributing to the practical aspect and managerial aspect, sorry, practical aspect and academic aspect. Then you just go for talking about just give your objective, then write down your research question. Then if you use any theory, just write it down. Then what are the main findings, right? Only 1 2 3 bullet point, you just put like main findings here with reference. Just give me the idea, and then you show me your conceptual model here and also hypothesis, and then you just give me your research design like this simple way, and what analysis technique you are going to use. So I'm going to share this presentation slide with you just to get the idea, means how many slides you should prepare and what should be the main content of your PowerPoint slides, so that you can show me. So it will be like research pitching or something like that, right? Pitching on your topic. So you just give me the background, significance of the study, objective, research question, theories, if you are using any theories, findings from the previous studies, conceptual model, hypothesis, and research design, so that mainly I can see at a glance that the background, I understood why you choose the topic, right? Then your research objective, research questions, your conceptual model and hypothesis, whether these are aligned with each other or not. So mainly I will look for this one. If I see that you could not make it after giving all this simple suggestion, if you will not be able to make it, then this is my limitation. Maybe. Okay, so you understood, right? How to, so I'm going to share this through WhatsApp. Please get the idea from here, and then just prepare your PowerPoint slides using your own idea, your style, and so on. So that's all from my side. Thank you. Now, any questions so far?
Sorry, Prof. Just on the
Yes.
presentation that you mentioned, we need to prepare and send to you, is it? Email to you.
Not sir, you just upload it in Eurox.
Or upload in Eurox.
Yes, please.
That is under assignment, which one? Sorry. Research proposal
I think
presentation?
research proposal presentation, that under that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, no problem. What else? Anything? Can you share the slide sample? Yes, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share the slides with you. Again, just to give you some idea how you can prepare like with less information, but very important information you are focusing on, and you are just presenting to me, so that at a glance I can see that yes, you are on right track. Your research objective, research question, conceptual model, and hypothesis are all aligned with each other. Or some like It's like sometimes students are giving some, yes, those informations are important, but for your written proposal. But for presentation, I would like to see at a glance that whether you are on track or not. Any more question?
Hi, Prof. I have a
Hi.
question on
Yes.
Taro Yemen table that you present
Yeah.
earlier just now.
Yeah.
So, just for example, let's say my size of population is 100. So how do I know which percentage do I choose? 5%, 7%, or 10%?
It's up to you based on I mentioned that. So you need to it's like wisely, it's like justify, because if you just use like 5%, right? Population size will be 81. So, but you are not able to, suppose you are not able to get 81 respondents, right? Then you need
Okay.
to justify like 5%. Then 51 should be okay. Then you just use, yes, Taro Yemen based on 100 population size. I'm going to use 51 precision level 10% because of the limitation that I could not manage to get like 81 to reduce the samples error, right? So you just like this way, you just justify it.
Okay. Okay. Understand. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Anything else? All right. So if not, then I just finish the session here, because maybe some of you already have, you have other classes, because I took a bit extra time today. Sorry for that. Okay. Hopefully, if anything like any simple question, then you just go for asking me in WhatsApp. If like more clarification, then you need to fix the meeting with me. Okay. All right, I think that's all from my side. If nothing, then just good luck, and I'm going to send the list of the presentation, who the students list who will be presenting on which date, and then if there is any clashing or anything, then maybe I'm going to yeah, change your presentation schedule accordingly. Okay, some of you, I think what is that one? And some of you, your class is clashing with the midterm exam. And then for MI, I think MEM students, from Master in Management students. So if it's clashing, then what I mentioned, that I'm going to take another exam, replacement exam for your batch, including others. Okay. Then later on, do you accept weekend? I'm not available. Weekdays, if I'm available, then you just text me. I can then give you the, what is that one, time for the appointment. All right. Saiful, later you can talk to me, like ask for the meeting time through WhatsApp. Yes, written proposal should be after presentation. I think already date is there. Date has been given already. Okay, then if I think already 50 minutes more. Okay, then I will talk to you during weekend. Tomorrow is Sunday, right? Sunday I'm off, my off day, so I will not be able to answer. Please wait for my reply. Okay, till weekdays. All right.
Prof,
Thank you very much. Okay. Yes.
regarding just now you mentioned the midterm, we no need to send in official request to you, right? For us having the project management class, which clash with the midterm.
Yes. But you just if you, I think a meme student, right? I think I have the list, so so should be okay. Those who will
Okay.
not be able to attend the, it's like sit for the exam, I'm going to take the exam later on. All right.
Okay, all right.
But question will be different. Make sure that purposely, yes, I'm not going to consider those who really have genuine problem. So you need to just give the evidence, and then I can take the exam for you, except the MIM students. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.